Going on, troopers? Welcome to the Trooper Transmission. Today we got my man Steven here to talk all things fitness, nerding out, troopers, maybe a little scuba, some
A little bit
commercial.
of diving.
You can
Yeah,
give
a
us
little bit of diving.
you can give us the scoop there as Commander Monk would. So let's just
Mhm.
wind the clock back. What was going on a year ago in your world, and what led to you deciding to train like a trooper?
For about a year or so before I made the decision to join, I've seen you on social media. I've been following you. I think I still have all of my emails that I would sign up every time, like, yeah, I want to get your emails. I want to get it. And I would read each one of them, and I could never bring myself to delete it because I'm like, I need to do this. Like, this guy, he's going to encourage me. I like what he's talking about. Like, I like hearing what he's saying. I just need to get the energy to stand up and do it. And I kept telling myself, yeah, maybe next month it'll happen, and it just never did. Like I said, I think I still have all the emails read or unread in my inbox. But uh, sometime in December is my birthday, and I saw you doing the Captain Rex challenge, and Captain Rex is my man. So I figured if something's gonna motivate me, may as well listen to Rex telling me, barking orders at me to do stuff. So I called a friend of mine. I haven't been to the gym in more than 15 years. But I called a buddy of mine and said, look, we're both Star Wars guys. You want to work out too. Do this with me. And every day we'll text a video to each other, like just text something, like making sure we're checking in with each other. And I did it for 5 days and liked it. And I told my wife I want to continue it. So I then put in an inquiry to like sit down and have a one-on-one chat with you. And I liked what you were saying. So I just kept doing the free one for another week or so until elected to get into the program. And ever since then, I've been working out every day and doing a great job.
Yeah, you've been absolutely crushing it, and I will be excited when we get to the wins you've had because you've blown away any benchmarks that we've had. And before we get there, though, I'd be curious, was there any apprehension about joining? Obviously, it's people all over the world in different states, and we're in different parts of the country. Was there any apprehension, or had you read enough emails to like, okay, cool, this guy's not going to go to Nigeria and run away with, you know,
I had apprehension, but not from you or the remote distance with it. I think one of the few positives that came out of COVID was the ability to do remote everything. Um, I guess I never expected to have it so easily and so easy and convenient to be able to talk to you on the opposite coast or talk to Marco, who's in Sweden or something. Like he's on the other side of the world, but every time I have a question, I message one of you and I get it within minutes. I knew it was the same on some of the social media stuff. Like I could message you and get a response, but I was never really sure it was you. Now, talking to you via the apps, like you're within minutes or hours. Every time I got a question, you guys get me some kind of feedback or give me something to give me some direction or, here's the training video, here's something, whatever you need. I did have apprehension about joining at first, but it wasn't necessarily due to you guys. It was my own fear of not being able to get through it. Even the first week that I made the decision to start doing the workout and I got my buddy to do it, I was considering not even telling my family because I was like, if I can't follow through with it, I feel bad. Like I feel like I would be letting them down if I couldn't get through it. But the night before the workout started, I told my wife and explained everything I wanted to do, and she's been fully supportive. I always believed she would be, but I never wanted to let them down or feel like I would. And fortunately, I haven't been able to work out and get nice compliments from everybody since I've been doing the workouts.
yeah, absolutely. So it sounds like for you, it was a little bit of fear of failure.
Yeah,
What was ultimately the thing that helped you just navigate that?
getting past the idea of failure.
Yeah, or just
Um,
fear of failure, right? This fear that if I say I'm going to do something and I don't follow through or I don't see results, that I'm a failure.
the I'm a sort of a very logical person, and the more I kept thinking about it, like it is still a failure of mine because I'm still not quite at the goals I want to be. But I realized what's worse, trying it and failing at it, or not doing it at all and still being huge, like still being uncomfortable in my own body and going another summer being the fat dad at the local pool club. Like that was obviously not going to be a good option. So what's worse? And it finally processing that in my head, going, well, you need to at least start. You got to give it the try and work towards it. And on within a few days of starting, even before I really started to see results, we went to it was my son's birthday, and we went to a big indoor pool club for a couple of days. And I remember taking my shirt off and walking around like I'm still big and heavy and the same uncomfortable person I was a month before or a week before, but I walked around feeling fantastic just because I know I'm working on myself and I'm doing everything. And it was just an immediate mental change. And that was one of the first uh, non-scale victories I felt like I had was I just feel better mentally knowing that I'm working on myself and trying to get better. I was down, I don't know, 3 pounds, so
Yeah.
barely any difference, but it just made me feel right at
Yeah.
that point.
One of the things that is a real mindset shift, even for me, that I have to remind myself of is our current state is just a result of the last 3 months, 3 years of decisions, right? And so a lot of people think that, oh, I won't be able to feel confident until I've lost the weight. But I always look at it as, or I try to look at it as when you're working out and eating healthy, your body is a reflection of what you did 2 years ago. So it really is a situation where you are the person that you want to be, your body just hasn't caught up yet. It's almost like this delayed indicator. And so anyone who is watching this and being like, "Oh man, like I don't know if I'll feel confident." That confidence comes from knowing you are being the person that gets that result. Does
Yeah,
that make sense?
it
And I think
does.
that's exactly what you're talking about. Um, like an extreme version of this is like if you're 2 years in remission, you might still have, from drug abuse, some of those ramifications, but you're not a drug addict at that point. That was old you, you're still
Yep.
dealing with that. And so taking action now, you've created that version of you. Time just hasn't caught up yet. The body's this slow thing to manifest and react.
It definitely felt good walking around just that in my own head. It gave me confidence walking around. Still was hard to run up and catch up to my kids when they were running, but whatever, felt good.
Yeah. I'd be curious for you, what were the one or two things that were just either little shifts or little perspective shifts? Maybe it's something tactical you were doing differently. What was the 80/20 maybe of Pareto's principle that enabled you to really start seeing results right away?
Um, Walking every single day. Just so I'm not a big fan. When I get it working for me, it I do find the best benefits with it. But the step counter that was in my phone or the health tracker, whatever it is in the iPhone, just seeing the trend. So like within the first week, it showed you like, hey, the last 7 days you've done 4 times the amount of stuff you normally do or you do on a regular day. I'm like, oh, like it hasn't been that difficult. Like it at least made me feel good. I could start to see the scale going, but just getting up and walking and doing that, I'm an early riser. I'm up an hour or two before my family gets up, and I would just come and sit here at my computer and try and do some work or catch up on emails or anything. And I've instead substituted that for my time walking. And just knowing I got up and started moving right away and doing more in 1 hour than I would normally do in a day was definitely the best mental shift or one of the best things that helped me, I guess, get to the results.
Yeah.
And then probably the breakfast shakes. I've tried a couple of different diets and things over the years, and I've had reasonably good success with them for the most part. But it was not staying consistent or not something I wanted to continue. Or I would just end up not eating breakfast a lot. Wake up at 5 in the morning, turn on the coffee pot, and sit here for the next 4 or 5 hours drinking coffee while working. I understand that that's not good for your metabolism, but now the what is it, the green gainer or galactic gainer? I make that every single day. It's a subtle variation, but I make it the night before so it's ready to go. I wake up and I have a 405 calorie breakfast every day. So I think mentally going for a walk and coming home and having a shake and doing all of that before anyone woke up is probably what gave me the best results, at
Yeah.
least from my side of things.
Yeah. Well, no, it gave you a ton of momentum, right? It's
Mhm.
the ability to say before most people are up, you've already checked off two really things. You've got a nutrient dense meal that probably took you 5 minutes to make. You've walked and knocked out your steps. And now it's almost this sense of the rest is house money, right? I get
Exactly.
you're doing workouts from home, 10, 15-minute workouts, but that right there is such a big win because what happens for a lot of people is they get to 6, 7, 8 p.m. and they've got this looming anxiety of, oh, I still need to walk, I still need to do this.
Exactly. That dread was never there at the end of the day. Because I'm like, oh, all I have is a 15-minute workout. Like how difficult are you going to make it for me in a 15-minute workout? Like I can knock that out at any point. But knowing that my hour-long commitment or whatever I wanted to do that morning was done was great.
Yeah. And I like the framework. I heard this from a mentor one time where it's move, meditate, create. And whether you were meditating or not, just getting some sort of movement in the day to just kind of allow your thoughts to come to you and really slow the day down. I find when I do that, I'm much more creative. It's much more easy to sit down and then be productive because I've
Mhm.
allowed energy to move throughout my body as well. Has that been the case of you at all, where you feel more mentally clear, or were you already like that?
No, I'm usually fairly good. I find myself when I'm on my walks either planning out the rest of my day or working on a report for a project or a design thing or I'm very logical. So if I'm working on a design calculation for something, I'm trying to think through a lot of the steps, but it does help me focus on a lot of that. I don't listen to podcast. I tried one podcast for a day. A lot of my walk though, I just spend in quiet and thinking about something of whatever task I want or um yeah, anything throughout the day. I wouldn't necessarily think it makes me more creative.
Yeah. Well, it you make a good point in that you're doing it without your phone, so you basically raw dog in your walks, which is
Yeah.
crazy in today's day and age, where it's like
It's fun.
I gotta be on social media. It sounds like for you it was really helpful. So then you started to make these changes, and we'll just call a spade a spade. Right away, you started crushing it and setting records if you can set records. What would you say some of the biggest wins you felt are? What are some of the biggest numerical wins you've had just in the last, I mean, what are we at? 10 weeks at this point?
And 10-ish weeks. My favorite thing that I've got so far is so most of my clothes don't fit anymore, which is nice. I mean, I had as I started getting bigger, I bought bigger size clothes. I still kept some of my smaller size clothes, so I'm starting to fit in a lot of those, which is good. But I've worn these same two belts for the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, and they have pull marks on them from where I had been wearing them. They're I've had to tighten them all the way, and then add one of them. I've had to add three separate holes to in each in like an inch, just so I can actually get it to tighten over my clothes. And these were clothes that I hadn't worn for a while because they were getting too uncomfortable. But like, I'm at the point where I almost need to go buy more. And my wife is like, just go to the store, go pick out new work pants, pick out whatever. I'm like, no, because I haven't gotten where Paul thinks I can get to yet. I'm not going to go buy new clothes right now when I still got 30 more pounds I want to go and then need new clothes in I don't how long is that going to take me? 2 more months? I don't know. But I'm going to wait till I get to that point. That's when I want to get new clothes. So continually tightening my belt and having to add more and more holes to it just makes it feel good. It looks stupid with the extra 8 inches of length on that
Yeah.
side, but I don't care. That feels like a badge of honor. Like this belt used to be my fat belt, and now it's still working, I guess, until I get a new one.
Yeah. I mean,
That was
people talk
nice.
about having notches on your belt. You literally have notches on your
Literally getting more notches in my belt because I have to put them in there just because it doesn't fit anymore. So that was my best or not really a scalable metric. Um, and then I guess overall weight, when you and I think during my first call, you asked me like, what do you want to get to? And I was almost afraid to put a number on it because I still mentally don't have a distinct weight, a number that I'm comfortable being. My opinion to you was the one thing I don't want my stomach to jiggle when I'm brushing my teeth. It still does a little bit, but the more we talked about it, we were able to figure out like, all right, let's at least aim for 215. And that number still scared me to get to it because that's still quite a ways away from where I started. I'm within a pound or two of getting there, so like I didn't expect to be at this point so quickly. And now it's resetting where am I going to get to? And I guess I'm still afraid to put a number on it because that might still seem like a failure or a lot more work getting to that point.
yeah.
But knowing that I was thinking maybe we could try and get close somewhere to 215 before the end of the project. Here I'm practically there already. So that's kind of my numerical score for it, I guess.
Yeah, totally. And you bring up a really interesting paradigm because a lot of times you'll hear people say, "Hey, dream big," right? And that's important. And the reason why that's important is because in order for you to think about, all right, what does 215 or even 200 look like? It requires you to think outside of how you typically think, right? And so if you're approaching the problem with the same mindset that you created the problem with, it's really hard to get outside of that. So if you create a goal that is outside of, I don't even see how that's possible, you have to get around it to then think differently and create a different mindset. On the flip side, yard by yard is too hard, inch by inch is a cinch, as my my elementary PE teacher would say.
I
And so
like that.
just creating a really short process to, all right, what are the next 5 pounds? What are the next 5 pounds? Because you can't lose 35, 40 pounds in a day, in a week, in a month, right? You
Yeah.
can in 10 weeks, which is phenomenal, but it takes time for that to happen. And so it's a mix of, all right, what's the short-term vision? 5 pounds. Okay, I can focus on these five workouts, this 10-minute, this 15-minute workout. But I think a lot of people would really benefit from just saying, well, what if this crazy goal was possible? Right? And then
Agreed.
you are able to then say, okay, if that is true, what else has to be true in order for that to happen? And it is kind of this fine balance. And then to your point, okay, I'm approaching this goal. Now what's next? It's this balance. I've heard this reference and I really like it. If you got a really good steak, you enjoy the bite you're having, but you also are looking forward to the next one.
Yeah.
And so it's being able to be present with, okay, this was a goal that I worked towards and feeling really good about it. But as you get to the next level of who it is you're, leveling up into, then all of a sudden new goals become visible. But it really is this process of, all right, cool, let's not get level 15. Let's just get level 1 to level 2 to level 3. And as you ascend, you start to see more of the field. You start to get access to more of the game. And so I think you've done a really good job of just focusing on the process and being incredibly consistent with simple daily inputs, walking for an hour a day, right? Having a protein shake, 10 to 15-minute workouts from home. And then you look up and you're like, oh, cool. I'm where I didn't think I would be, but it took thinking a different way to get there. Does that make
Yep.
sense?
It
And I think
does.
you've done a really good job of just, to your point, you're pretty logical. It's just like, okay, what do I logically need to do? Cool, I'll just go and do that. And so I'd be curious for you, if someone was in your shoes, let's say you rewind a year and you were going to talk to yourself, what would you say the three things to focus on would be? Like three keys to success?
Committing, starting something. Like at that point, I had already recognized that I needed something. I needed help to work out. The most important thing was making that connection to you. Like I've been following you and I saw your stuff and I acknowledged that I knew I needed it. But just setting up the meeting with you and talking to you, like that was the most important step. Because once I got that rolling, I know I had committed. I vocalized it outside of my head. And I don't know, that felt like that felt like the most critical way to get everything moving. I would if I could go back and start and talk to myself. I'm like, look, you followed the guy. You like what he's talking about. I love the Star Wars workouts. I love all of them. If I could have been this size a year ago and been working on it, who knows where I could be now. But the key to success, talking to you, following what you're preaching, or following the information you have out there, because you have all the skills to explain to me what I don't know, and do you really need a box of cookies every week? Do you need that extra junk food every week? I'm proving to myself now you don't need any of that. I do have to eat Oreos every once in a while, only because with the app you need me to hit my calories every day. So I every once in a while I need something, and it's just easier to
Yeah.
go pick out two Oreos than it is find
Let's
something
double click
healthy.
on that then. What's been the thing that's helped you make that shift from needing or wanting that box of Oreos to then being like, I'm actually good?
Accountability.
Okay.
Realistically, it was easier when uh it was easier not measuring anything and not caring. So eating a box of Oreos or eating one of my favorites was peanut butter sandwiches. You know how unpleasant or not unpleasant, how annoying it's been recognizing what an actual serving of peanut butter is. Like I used to just go home and grab a giant spoonful and slather it on, and like that sandwich was delicious. And the first time, like I was reading it and I had to scan it for the app, I'm like, oh shit, I only get 31 grams of this, and like I did one spoon of that and put it on my that's miserable. That's not even worth the calories at this point. So like once I really took the time to understand what the nutritional scale is telling me and what the measurements actually physically look like, that's been the accountability of that is I'm not going to lie in the app because if you're lying into this stuff is trying to help you. You're trying to help me. If I'm lying to you about what I'm ingesting, then I can't complain when I don't see the results. And that's what I want to see every day is my results there. So the accountability of having to track what I'm doing and put it in was probably one of the more helpful things because You are much more aware of what's going on. Some of the sauces that I like to put on whatever food I'm cooking, recognizing what that exact one serving is and how many calories are in that, or how much fat or carb is in the whatever item that never really considered. Like, oh, it just tastes good. Throw it into your food. But really measuring it and doing it every single time for the first month, every single shake that I would do every morning, every single day, I'd have to weigh every single item. Now I'm okay because I can visually identify what's going on or recognize I'm using the same package every day. I know what to do. So I'm a little okay with it, but I'll still go back every week or two and remeasure everything just to make sure what I'm visually assessing is the right measurement.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that because a lot of people want to intuitively eat, but I always say, well, let's train your intuition to have the correct pattern recognition because that's what
Yeah.
your intuition is. It's your subconscious pattern recognition.
Exactly. I didn't see it at first, but I saw it in a document you recently sent me of how to visualize your portions, your thumb size or the palm of your hand. And I was like, I kind of wish I saw that at the beginning. I have a nice scale, so like I do everything on there, but when I'm not at home or you want to go out to eat, that's a great way to look at it.
Yeah.
I realized just recently, I thought I was doing my salmon fillets. I have salmon once a week. I swore they were 4 ounce portions. And then I happened to throw it on the scale and realized it was a 6 ounce portion. I was off by 50% one meal every week. It was still fine for the calories I needed, but I was off by that item every single week just because my intuition was wrong on it. I hadn't even realized.
Yeah, totally. And I think again, for your mind, just thinking about it and breaking it down logically and having the numbers is super helpful. And I know a
Yeah.
lot of guys that we work with, a lot of guys that follow us are that kind of, whether it's an engineer or a nerd or someone who's logical or Spock, and we're all living long and
Hmm.
prospering. It's just, hey, let's kind of add some droid and then mix in some force, elements of having the mindset of creating that alter ego and that version of you. So if we're recapping this, it sounds like one, accountability, two, like having some form of measurement. And
Yeah.
then what you were also talking about in the beginning is just I've heard this term eat the frog, or just do things first in the morning as opposed to delaying it. Like, would you say those have been your three
Yeah.
keys to success? I
Yeah.
think so.
I
Yeah.
like it.
Cool.
I've never heard eat the frog.
I haven't either, but one of our members uses it a lot and he eats the frog and it's working for him. So eat
All
the
right.
frog.
I like it.
Yeah. Last one, favorite Star Wars quote. Can be from anyone, can be funny, can be deep. What would you say that is?
This is my notebook. I carry it for work every day. I'm an engineer. I keep track of everything. In my book, experience outranks everything.
Yep. I
I got
like
that on the top of each one, along with I love working under pressure because I'm a diver, and don't be hasty from Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
So yeah, in my book, experience outranks everything. That's my favorite one, and I try to live that consistently. I remember first hearing it from Captain Rex. It's something I try and carry through in engineering because just because you're a competent, good engineer doesn't make you a good engineer. Being practical and knowing how to do things logically, or knowing when you don't know what the answer is and you need to talk to the right person. That's the person you want to be like or be learning from, and that's why in my book their experience outranks everything.
Yeah. No, I love that one because a lot of people will say, I know nutrition. And to your point, like you've now gone and executed nutrition, and there's no level of knowing that beats going and doing the thing, right? I can read books on diving, but I don't know a darn thing about diving until I've actually dove. It's a lot of dived words.
Dove or dived, depending on where you are in the world. But to that same point, I was a cook for a very long time. I do all the cooking in my house now. I do all the kitchen stuff. I 6 months ago would have told you I don't eat a high sodium diet. I don't add salt to anything, some potatoes every once in a while, but I don't put sodium in anything, or for the most part. It wasn't until you showed me how to be tracking the micros in here. There was two separate times where I mentioned to you I was frustrated because my weight was going down and then jumped up like a pound or two one particular day. And without missing a beat, you went, "Well, did you check your sodium that day?" I'm like, "Oh, my sodium's good. I'm good with what I eat." And we looked at it. It was 5,000 milligrams. I had no idea. I was just substituting something, so I have no idea what I'm talking about nutrition wise. Now I'm getting better, but I'm
Yeah.
because I'm talking to you about it every day.
Yeah. And for anyone listening, sodium's not bad, but it just causes your body to hold on to more water to balance out.
Exactly. And you
Yeah.
need to pay attention to it. In my head, I just went, well, I need to be lower calorie, eliminate all of those fatty sauces from my food, and go with all of the dry seasonings on top of things because they're only 5 calories, not recognizing it's 5 calories, but 600 milligrams a serving. And that heavy hand of cooking had multiple servings in there. So, like, it just started to add up, and I had no idea about it. So,
Yeah.
you learn. But that's
Yeah.
why I like talking to you about them, your
Yeah.
experiences.
Balance, experience outranks everything. I love it. Any final words? Otherwise, we can let you head on out to the dive site or to work out, whatever you got going on next.
No, I thank you for what you do. Thank you for putting all of this on because like I said, I've known for a long time. I have not felt comfortable in myself for a long time and knew I needed something, but didn't want to go to the gym, didn't have that kind of flexibility. I have, 3 young kids and didn't have that ability to be out and doing more, or didn't think I'd have that ability. And watching your program and seeing I could really seeing with the helmets, I mean, I have my wall of helmets right up here looking at me every day. Seeing you doing it that way helped me realize I can also do it. And I'm never going to be as fit as you, I think, but I can at least strive towards it. Like I can work on that every day. So I appreciate you doing what you do.
Absolutely. Well, and hey, maybe someday you don the helmet and it's like Batman, someone
Could
else
be.
wears the mask in
I
the
already wear some of them around the house. My kids wear them too. My oldest can even get some of them down, and
oh,
she loves
awesome.
walking around with Bo-Katan helmet. It's her favorite one.
Yeah. I think I can't wait till I have one kid, but kids are older and then we all just run around in helmets and
Yep.
shoot each other with Nerf guns.
The first time my kid picked up the Bo-Katan helmet and took the dark saber off the floor, I'm like, now you have to understand what this is the way means. And now she knows when she picks them up, she can put them on whenever she wants, but she has to find me that this is the way.
Yep.
Good. Now you're
Yep.
good.
Training them right. That's awesome.
Indeed.
Dude, thanks for the time. Congrats on all the results and success and excited to see what the future holds in store for you, man.
Thank you.